honest to God, we're the luckiest people on the planet. I mean, to think we have this answer, this just perfect, beautiful answer here is just such a gift. So let's take a look. How I will start this first paragraph, the ladder of
Then,
prayer.
then before you read, I can tell you what you reminded me of. You remind me of the ex-coach of University of Michigan, who he used to always say, "Who's got it?" And I think about this with our group: "Who's got it better than we do? Nobody."
Oh, buddy. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yep. Yeah, we're the luckiest people in the world. So the ladder of prayer. Prayer has no beginning and no end. It is a part of life, but it does change in form and grow with learning until it reaches its formless state and fuses into total communication with God. In its asking form, in its asking form, it need not and often does not make appeal to God or even involve belief in him. At these levels, prayer is merely wanting out of a sense of scarcity and lack. So he's talking about a couple things. First off, that we are always praying. We are always praying. And I just want to stop a minute and think about that. Do you recognize that? Um, that you are always praying? And how, I hope this goes okay. I'm, trusting this is going to be okay. I'm going to, put a cake in the oven or put a batter in a pan in the oven and trust that when I pull it out, there's going to be a cake in there. I'm always praying, making kind of a bargain with the universe, constantly making a bargain with the universe. So I'm always praying. It's always going on. It's a part of life. But we're talking about levels of prayer. And so on the most basic level, it is merely wanting out of a sense of scarcity and lack, like I need this cake to bake, or I need these clothes to wear, or I need this house to live in, or I need this, sustenance to, whatever. There's that coming from lack, but it can evolve and change until it reaches what he's calling a formless state, fusing into total communication with God. So he's making a difference between the prayer that comes from asking to the prayer that comes from knowing. That makes sense to me. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah, the key to this is that last sentence, merely wanting out of a sense of scarcity and lack. That's the ego concept right there. If you're coming saying, I need this, I want this, I want, well, you can't want and have at the same time. So you're coming from all you're going to get is that continuous want. It can never be satisfied, no matter how strong no matter whatever happens. You can't get satisfaction out of this dream world, and then go to when it reaches its formless state. Well, there is that saying that when you pray for something, pray as though you already have it. Then there's no wanting, there's no lack, there's no limitation, there's no scarcity. And like Lester used to say, when you're praying to God, who are you praying to? Are you and God one? So as soon as you do that, you're separating yourself, and there's ego again. You're separating yourself from the infinite oneness, the infinite beingness, God, whatever you want to call it, and that's not possible. But to a mind, that's how it functions. So this paragraph is way more powerful the second time I read it than it was the first time I read it.
Yeah, thank you for, yeah, exactly, Rafi. And yeah, who are we praying to? Is God outside somewhere? I realized that when I was like 12 years old, and they're saying, say grace before you eat. And I'm like, why am I telling God this stuff? Doesn't God already know? Is it just important that I say it out loud or something? Can't he, obviously he's already here. So, why do we act like he's somewhere else or it's somewhere else? So, I love that. Thank you. Thank you, Rafi. Anybody else have any thoughts about that paragraph? Brooklyn, go ahead.
My mother always used to say, God helps those who help themselves.
Yeah. I love it. Oh gosh. So let's then take a look at paragraph 2. Who would like to read paragraph 2? Let's see.
I can read it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Good to be with you all. The
Good to
letter
have
of prayer. These forms of prayer, or asking out of need, always involve feelings of weakness and inadequacy and can never be made by a son of God who knows who he is. No one, then, who is sure of his identity could pray in these forms. Yet it is also true that no one who is uncertain of his identity can avoid praying in this way. And prayer is continual as life. And everyone prays without ceasing. Ask and you have received, for you have established what it is you want. I love it. I don't have any comments. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no one then who is sure of his identity could pray in any form other than the form of communication with God. So it really is an a admission of the truth of what I am. True prayer is just admitting I am yours. And that's it. There's no confusion about that. And I also love that he says prayer is as continual as life. Everyone prays without ceasing. Ask and you have received, for you've already said, this is what I want. And you will receive what you want. And if you want something outside of yourself, then you're going to get something that is not going to help you. But if you want it, you can have it. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah, two things. The first one, a prayer I use all the time is make us realize our oneness with thee. I cling to that always. And the other, I added something, and now. It's not like make us realize our oneness with thee sometime in the near future. Now, because if you put it in the future, it stays in the future. And it was something else that you said that I was going to comment on, but it's gone, and it'll come back later. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafi. I love it. Yep, now. That's the only time that it can be, right? Sharonda, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so now the thought had come in. It says, and prayer is as continual as life. Everyone prays without ceasing. It's as if our consciousness and how we live is our prayer. It's automatic.
Yeah, it's like we're making a spell all the time. It's like we're making a spell. We're projecting what it is that we want and then walking into it and just weaving that all along. And because we can't, what we are is a communication device. We're communicating with the universe at all times in all ways. So that communication is ongoing and has never stopped and can never stop. So we are communicating, and actually that's what it says in the course when people he talks about our creations. Our creations are communication. And that's what we're doing is communicating ourselves. I'm communicating myself right now. I'm moving out into your minds, which is my mind. Rafi, please go ahead, and then Glorian after that.
Yeah. The mind is a creative instrument. What you hold in mind shows up in your life. That's how it works. And so if you're coming from a point of view of praying from, I need this, I want that, I don't have this, I don't have, that's what you're going to get. It's really, you can complicate the hell out of it, but it's as simple as that. I don't want this to happen. Guaranteed it's going to happen. Oh my God, I really need this. I don't have that. I want this. I want that. All you're going to get is more want. And it's going to show up and show you. And that's the glory of it, is it shows you it shows you what's going on inside you, so you can, like Lester said, examine your thinking and correct it. But if we just go along with it, then it's the hamster in the wheel. It just keeps perpetuating that same lack, limitation, separation, suffering, 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 suffering. And sooner or later you got to go, hello, wake up.
That's it. And it is. We are perpetuating our life with our thoughts. And when we say we don't want it, we're actually saying we do want it, because I'm focusing my mind on it. It's crazy. Glorian, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for that, Rafi, because that's what was coming to my mind as you were saying that is peace will come to those whose mind is fixed on me. And that's why we want to keep our focus on what we truly are, because then that's what we're going to have reflected in our world. In this paragraph, these forms of prayer, beseeching, or asking out of need always involves feelings of weakness and inadequacy, vulnerability, the scarcity principle that the Course talks about, and could never be made by a son of God who knows who he is, his wholeness, his oneness, accepting his holiness, which is his oneness. And if we look at the experience of oneness, as he said in the paragraph above, this is formlessness, this is isness, beingness. No one then who is sure of his identity could pray in these forms, because there is no lack once we've accepted what we truly are. Yet it is also true that no one who is uncertain of his identity can avoid praying in this way. And that's what we were talking about somewhere this morning, about the ego desires, wants, needs, because it feels it's lacking. And that recognition that when we are in desire of something, it's really leading us to that miracle impulse, if we see it another way, which is the desire for oneness. So once we come into that place of recognition that if we desire something, we feel lack. And what we really want is the oneness and the wholeness of the Christ that we are. And prayer is as continual as life, because we've moved out of separation into that beingness of oneness. So there's no end to what we truly are. There's no separation. Everyone prays without ceasing. When we're in our right mind, there's constant prayer, because we've accepted our wholeness. And that's what we truly are. So it's a constant. And if we are in the ego mind, we're always seeking and desiring, praying for something to ease that lack that we seemingly feel. Ask and you have received, for you have established what is you want. So it's basically this constant recognition of, do I want more of the carnal mind? Do I want more of the ego? Or do I want more of the peace and love of God? And to have that peace and love of God, we just have to accept what we are. And then it's there for us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Gloria. And that's it. Just accept it, because as Rafi always tells us, you can't have it and want it at the same time. If you want it, means you don't have it. If you have it, you don't want it. There's no want. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Anybody else have any thoughts about this? I mean, it's just really clear to me that, every thought we have, every, from the moment we awaken in the morning, probably while we're sleeping at night, we are praying, 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 because we're having a communication with life in the universe. And so what that prayer is defined by our state of consciousness, or the place where we're at. And that is defined by whether or not we know our own identity. We know what we are. Brooklyn, please go ahead.
I love it. Prayer is connection. It's connecting. Yeah, that's how I feel. And my prayers are thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
love
Thank
and
you.
connection. Yeah, it's most important.
I love that. Yeah. And if you have nothing else to say all day, thank you is the way. That's a little rhyme. I like that. Uh,
Gratitude is so powerful. Gratitude is so powerful, you can't even comprehend it. I mean, wow. Thank you, Brooklyn. Wow.
yeah. Yeah. And you can say that. I mean, that's the first thing I say in the morning when I wake up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't even have to think what I'm thanking for or who I'm thanking. It's just thank you are those words that come out of my mouth and the words that come into my heart. Um, so let's look at paragraph 3. Who would like to read paragraph 3? We have time for that for sure.
I'll take it.
Thank you, Rafi.
3. It is also possible to reach a higher form of asking out of need, for in this world, prayer is repetitive. And so it must entail levels of learning. Here, the asking may be addressed to God in honest belief, though not yet with understanding. A vague and usually unstable sense of identification has generally been reached, but tends to be blurred by a deep-rooted sense of sin. Well, there's a lot of words you could use as synonyms for sin right there. It is possible at this level to continue to ask for things of this world in various forms, but it's also possible to ask for gifts such as honesty or goodness, and particularly for forgiveness, for the many sources of guilt that inevitably underlie any prayer of need. Hello. Without guilt, there is no scarcity. The sinless have no needs. That deep-rooted sense of sin is, again, there's guilt, there's denial, there's disbelief, there's doubt, oh, please.
Yeah, thank you, Rafi. Yeah, I mean, you hit right on it. It is that deep-rooted sense of sin, the thought that I've done something wrong, and I feel guilty because of it. And so what I'm asking for is, don't see the sinful part of me, and give me what you would give me if I was a good. But what he says there, that without guilt, there's no scarcity. The sinless have no needs. So it's the idea that I have done something that has offended God or offended, anything or anyone, that's keeping me from having the goodness that I know I deserve and I know belongs to me. So, if you wonder why am I broke? Why am I having such a hard time? Why is my health, going to pot? Why are all these things, every single thing that we're experiencing in this world is based on guilt. And so, the need that we have, the needs of the body, the needs of the heart and the mind, all of those needs are a sense of emptiness, feeling like we cannot have what we really need because we don't deserve it. And it's that sense of self-worth that is really what allows me to have what it is. Even if I'm rich, even if I have the greatest family, even if I'm the best looking person in the world, even if I'm famous and popular and everybody loves me, if I feel like I am not worthy of any of that, I can't experience it. I can't experience love if I don't think I'm worthy of love. And the only reason I would think I'm not worthy of love is because I feel guilty. I feel like there's something that I have not done or done that has caused me to be not worthy of goodness. That's the guilt. So when I'm feeling guilty, it doesn't matter what I have. The wealthiest people, the people that have everything that your little heart could ever ask for, commit suicide because they're in such despair because they don't feel worthy of what it is they have. And yet the poorest person in the world can be the happiest person in ever. Why? Because they know that they are worthy of the love that's there that belongs to them. So uh, I believe so many times Jesus, yeah, and Brooklyn has put in Richard Cory. Exactly. I was thinking of that song. Oh, you put that in there. That's exactly what it is. It is, uh, if I don't feel like if I feel guilty and I don't feel like I'm worthy of having what I have, then I can't have what I'm having. And I do honestly believe that thank you, gratitude is what helps me to see that I'm worthy. It helps me to understand that I'm worthy. Because I can't be grateful for something that I don't experience. I don't know. Anybody else have any thoughts about this? Glorian, please go ahead.
I'll share, but I might be interrupted because I have a very active Yankee game going on in the other room. So I'll do my best to focus. Where he says here, it is also possible to reach a higher form of asking out of need, for in this world, prayer is reparative. And so it must entail levels of learning. That's what we were talking about before. Spirit, help me see this differently while we don't remember where we are when we have forgotten. Here, the asking may be addressed to God in honest belief, though not yet with understanding, not remembering who we are in truth and as we were created. So we have belief that there's something, but we don't have the understanding that that's what we are. A vague and usually unstable sense of identification has generally been reached. So there is part of our mind that knows that there's something more than we think that we are, but tends to be blurred by a deep-rooted sense of sin. And that's it right there. Sin, separation, because we made the ego, so we believe it to be real. And that's the real problem, is that we believe what we made instead of accepting what we are. It is possible at this level to continue to ask for things of this world in various forms. And it is also possible to ask for gifts such as honesty or goodness. So that's what we wanted to do, is to recognize that, the things of this world is just trading in illusion for illusion, is never going to bring us the peace that we are looking for and that we seek. Sorry about the ring. But it's possible to ask for gifts such as honesty or goodness. And that's what we want to say. I want the peace of God, or, we want to see it differently. And particularly for forgiveness, which is non-judgment. Forgiveness for the many sources of guilt, the different manifestations that the guilt, that ego voice tempts us with, that inevitably underlie any prayer of need. So ultimately, it's by listening to the guilty voice of the ego that places us in a spot where we think we need something, when we can recognize in this moment, I have everything. Without guilt, without listening to this fearful voice of the ego, there is no scarcity, there is no lack, there's nothing to fill, because without guilt, we are as we were created, whole. The sinless have no needs. And if we recognize that, you know, the answer there, God's son is guiltless. That's always the answer. And if we accepted that guiltless, sinless innocence in that experience of oneness, which is merely waiting on our welcome, there are no needs, and there is no lack, and there is no scarcity. Thanks.
Thank you for that breakdown, Gloria, and that was really beautiful. That is really beautiful. And yeah, this is the whole psychology of the ego. It's so well explained here. And that's honestly, I couldn't have broken it down better. So thank you for that. Let's see, what do we have? We have a lot more paragraphs of this. So I think we're going to just go ahead and um, uh, start again next week on paragraph 4 and close out for the evening. And I want to tell everybody how, let me just go ahead and stop the share and bring us all up, how much I love you all and how grateful I am for, everything that you've done to help me and continue to do. I mean, we help each other in the most, I think, real and beneficial way, uh, because it's changing our lives. This is changing my life. And I think I've heard a lot of other people say that as well. So thank you for joining with us and being a part of our family here. I love you all.
Thank you, Lynn.
Love us so much. We're walking each other home.
Absolutely.
My Stone said, "We are family."
I got all my.
Exactly. I love it, you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Good
All right,
night.
enjoy
Hugs.
this
Good night.
evening.
Good
See you all
night.
tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.